What's going on, guys? It's Austin from the 2nd Militia. Today I'm going to be doing a quick comparison on the CZ po7 with the decocker and the CZ po9 with the decocker. This is the duty model. It has the night sights. The po7 has suppressor height night sights. Both of these guns did come equipped with a manual safety. So, I mean, that would lend itself to, you 1911 guys that are used to carrying a big heavy gun that's cocked and locked, which this would be a little bit lighter, more round capacity. If you went with the 40 caliber, you'd still get more round capacity, but me personally, I'm a 9 and 45 kind of guy. Some 380s, but it would lend itself really well to that. But so I'm going to start off with the po9, just so you know the guns have been safety checked and are cleared. I just had to show that for some of you spazzos that are like, oh, he touched the trigger. This one does have the decocker model on it. I've already said that, but for you, those of you that have a short attention span like I do, it helps out. The gun, I have the medium back strap on both of them. The large fit me, it did fit me, but the medium, it felt better in my hand, and, like, whenever I would come out of concealment and, go out to the range, I mean, I get a lot better purchase, and I don't know, the real estate just feels, feels like I got more to grab onto with the medium versus the large that pushes my hand back about another 1/4 of an inch to where it shortens the fingers, on the grip. But, I mean, it's also got the reference marks on both sides, and, I mean, this gun, people, nowadays you got, people that carry the subcompacts and the compact size, which this is kind of in the same compact size as like the Glock 19, the CZ P10C. So, I mean, but this right here, this is about as big as, I mean, you can get bigger and longer handguns, of course, but this is about as big as I'm willing to carry, and it's pretty much a full-size handgun. I mean, it's 19+1 capacity. I mean, loaded. I mean, it's a pretty heavy gun. But, with the right gun belt and the right holster, you don't feel it like you would think you would. And especially coming out of either appendix or 3 o'clock with this gun, I mean, it's such a smooth shooting gun, and the trigger on it, the trigger on this one, let's see if I can get that in there. I mean, it breaks so short and so light, and then the double action trigger, I mean, it's a heavy trigger, but yet it's still smooth enough to when, you're making that double action pull, you're not moving the gun around. You're not jerking the gun, per se. Now, this gun, both of these guns do have the Omega trigger system in them. I bought them that way from a certain individual who went over and beyond to, because he's a big CZ, he was a big CZ fanatic, and then he hopped on the Glock bandwagon. So I got both of these guns at a really good deal. I ain't gonna tell you what I got in them because I got a really good deal, especially on this one. This is Cerakoted in the burnt bronze slide. It's got the suppressor height, night sights. It's got the threaded barrel. Do I plan on running a suppressor on it? No, I don't have any intentions on doing so now, as of right now. Maybe here in the near future when finances get better. Yeah, I have every intention on getting a few suppressors. This gun right here is definitely my EDC. I mean, it is definitely my EDC. The only trouble I've had with this gun and it's nothing to do with the mechanics of the firearm itself, is that the gun is so fucking hard to find holsters for. I mean, yeah, you can order them offline, but like going to your local gun shop or your military surplus that has all the holsters, it's so hard finding a holster for it. Like even the gun shop I go to, which is the Nashville Armory, they make like hybrid style holsters, and they could not make me a holster because of the suppressor height sights. So that's one thing to look at when you're in the market for a gun that has a threaded barrel and it has the suppressor height sights. It is a bitch to find a holster that will fit those suppressor height sights. Now, the po7, it has, just like the po9, has the front slide serrations. I mean, it's got the, the decocker on it. It's got the reference points on it. I mean, it's a damn good gun. And this one, my buddy did a lot of work to this gun internally, as far as he put the Omega trigger system in it. He put a different recoil spring in it. I mean, I still have all the originals, but I mean, this gun, I mean, it's so easy to, to rack. And I mean, the recoil on this is, God, non-existent to me. But now I will say that the po9 mitigates recoil a little bit better than the po7, but both of these are, I mean, it's crazy. I'll put it to you like this. I have a Smith & Wesson M&P Bodyguard, and it recoils, and it's more snappy than the po7 or the po9, hands down. These guns are both a dream to shoot. They're both a dream to carry, especially the po7. Now, with the threaded barrel, I'm at the same length I would be with the po9. Let's see, get them lined up there. As you can see, I'm right at the same length I would be with the po9, just due to the barrel. But I mean, man, this gun is awesome. I love this gun. So the single action brake, you got your take up and it brakes. I mean, it's so smooth. And then your double action is just, God, it's so smooth. The double action on this gun is really impressive, because I mean, you can yank it all day and you're not going to jerk it if you have the correct fundamentals. Now, there are some people that would grab it and like do one of those numbers, but I mean, if you got a firm grip on the gun and you got good fundamentals, you're going to yank it all day and not notice. You're not going to, and when I say yank it, I'm talking about yanking the trigger back in the double action. You got good fundamentals. This gun is staying planted while you're pulling that trigger. And then in first or single action, I mean, it's insane how light it is. I have noticed on here, which I don't mind, because this is my primary carry gun. So if once you hit that wall and it breaks right back there on the po9, and I don't know if this is because it's the duty model or what, but once you hit that wall, it breaks a hair sooner than the po7. And I mean, guys, like I said, yes, this is a big handgun, but it's totally manageable as far as concealed carry, and you can comfortably concealed carry this. I'm not a big guy. I'm about 5'9", 200 pounds. I mean, I'm not a big guy at all, and I can conceal this easily. And it's not like I wear baggy clothes or anything like that. And no, I don't run only appendix. Sometimes I run appendix, sometimes I run 3 o'clock. I even got shoulder holsters for both of these guns that I run. Right now, I'm currently running a Alien Gear shapeshifter inside the waistband holster for this gun, because it's such an amazing gun. I can't say enough good things about these CZs, guys. I mean, this gun truly is an amazing gun, and when I say amazing, it's amazing. Alright, so one thing that I am doing, and I haven't seen it done, there's not very, I mean, there's videos for the po7, but there's not very many with the threaded barrel and suppressor sights, the suppressor ready model. But with this one, I'm actually, because like I said, I don't have the funds to, you know, file the Form 1 and pay for the tax stamp and pay for, you know, a suppressor. I don't have the funds to do that right now. A little later on, maybe a little after the new year, I do have plans to get a suppressor for this gun. But until then, to make it, and this is just my personal preference, okay, I'm going to put some actual stock, no, we're talking stock, CZ night sights, and they're going to look just like this, real low profile to the frame, and that's mainly because I don't need these suppressor height sights with this threaded barrel. Now, once, you know, after the beginning of the year, and, you know, my funds become more available to me, I will put suppressor height sights back on the firearm. But until then, I'm taking these off and I'm putting the po9 style sights on it, or, you know, your factory po7 style sights. And that's just a personal preference of mine. I'm doing this because I haven't had... Alright, I've done a bunch of research and I've read a couple forums about people putting regular height sights on something with a threaded barrel, and it makes for a really good carry gun. But I haven't seen any videos of somebody talking about putting a, you know, regular height sights on the po7 suppressor ready model. You know, I mean, I haven't seen it yet. Now, the cool thing about these two guns, in my opinion, alright, now with the suppressor ready model on the po9, it comes with the 15 round mag, but it has the +2 base plate, so you get 17 rounds in, you know, your po7, and this is just how I carry, and this is my personal, like, this is how I carry. You know, I have my 17 rounder in it, you know, +1 in the pipe, that's 18 rounds. That should be more than enough ammo. But just in case, I keep a spare po9 mag on me, because these are 19 round mags. So, I mean, yeah, it does hang out the bottom a little bit, you know, but if you have a malfunction, or, you know, because guns are known, and it don't matter what kind of gun it is, guns are known to fuck up at the worst times. So, with that being said, if, you know, I had to drop the mag and reload to clear the malfunction, I'm going to reload with as much as I possibly can. I'm not going to drop my 17 round mag, pick it up, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go straight for the 19 rounder, and I'm going to, you know, go through the motions to get it cleared, get back in the fight. Now, the second militia, I made a video. My first video I made is what the channel was about. And, you know, if you don't follow me on Instagram already, go to the second militia, at the second militia. And every Thursday night I do live gun reviews. YouTube, they're censoring a lot of, you know, the Second Amendment gun culture. They're anything that's Second Amendment themed. Their algorithms are steady processing, and they're trying to block it as much as possible. So, with that being said, I definitely, you know, Instagram, that's why I like Instagram, is because I can do it live. You guys can ask me questions while we're live, and I'm not claiming to be a firearms expert. That 110% I'm not. There's still a lot that I'm learning, but I do know a lot about firearms. I've been carrying firearms for a long time, and, you know, I'll openly admit, you know, when I'm wrong or if I don't know something. So, you know, if you haven't had a chance to, you know, check out the Second Militia on Instagram, come over and check us out. You know, like, comment, subscribe to this video. I'm going to try to do more YouTube videos, because with Instagram I can do a live video, and you can, you know, if you have the chance to catch it, cool. If not, you can always watch it in my story for 24 hours. but I don't have any good reference videos to where you can go back and be like, oh damn, I missed the live review on that gun. I would like to go back and watch the review. So that's why I'm working on the YouTube thing. So with that being said, now I'm going to compare the po7 and the po9. And then, you know, I'm going to tell you what's obviously some notable differences between the guns. Alright, on the po9, I've already spoke on it. The trigger breaks a hair sooner than the po7, which I don't mind at all, simply because the po7 is my main carry gun. Now, there are some days that I'm picking this up and it's going in the holster and I'm carrying this. Especially with it being winter, this has been getting a little bit more carry time than this, but, you know, I mean, hell, I've been carrying this for a while. So, they both have the Omega trigger system in them. They both have rails on them for lights, attachments, you know, things of that nature. The one on the po9 is notably longer than the one on the po7, so you could get some bigger lights and shit like that on it. Sorry, guys. Now, felt recoil. There's not enough felt to say there's a difference. There's really not. Obviously, the po9 is like shooting butter. The po7 is like shooting butter. I mean, it just, there's no notable difference there. Obviously, with the po9 being a bigger gun, your mag capacity is higher. If I had the base standard po7 duty model, it would be 15 plus 1. But because I have the suppressor ready model, it's 17 plus 1, so that gives me a total of 18 rounds with one in the chamber. po9, basic shit, man, is 19 plus 1, and that is a whole whopping 20 rounds in a carry gun. Now, some of you, and I'm a firm believer in this, what works for you will not work for me most of the time. What works for me probably won't work for you. So, you know, there have been a lot of YouTube channels that I've watched, such as Iraqi Veteran 88, that Crybaby, the Yankee Marshal, Hickok 45, James Yeager. There's a few that I've watched that some things that work for them work really well for me. Some things that work well for me, they probably hate. So it's all about finding, you know, having the basic, trying to think of a lack of a better term, the basic essential skills to be confident enough to carry a hammer-fired gun. And when I say the basic skills, I'm not saying anybody, you know, because the manual of arms on a striker fire, in my opinion, is a little bit simpler than a hammer fired. Why do I say that? Because in a striker fire, you can rack the slide, you have a round chambered, such as in a Glock or the P10C that does not have a safety, and you can pull the trigger and it goes bang. With a po7 or a hammer fired gun, yes, you can do that. But you have to know that that first trigger pull is not going to be single action unless unless you carry it like this. But if you carry it like this, I highly recommend putting on the manual safety. And me personally, I don't like safety, so decockers all the way for me. Now, if you have the correct fundamentals in shooting, period, and, you know, if you're a Glock guy and you carry a lot of Glocks, more power to you, man. I don't like the grip angle of the Glock. I don't like the way the Glock feels in my hand. I've owned several Glocks. I've owned a few different generations of the 19. I've owned a few different generations of the 23. I've owned a few generations of the 23. I've owned the 43. I've owned the 26. I mean, I've owned the 22. You know, I've owned a lot of Glocks. And when I first started out concealed carrying, that was the way to go. Everybody was talking about Glock, 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 Glock. Well, in my opinion, I stepped away from Glock, just, because I go to the gun store a lot. I network with a lot of people that are in the gun culture. And I actually made a trade, and I went to an XDS 3.3 to be exact. No, I take that back. The first XD I owned was a XD service model 4-inch barrel, 9mm with 16+1. And I liked that gun a lot. The grip angle was different. Didn't care for the grip safety, but, it's not much different than shooting a 1911. And if you got good fundamentals when you would purchase the firearm out of the holster to come out of concealment, you could get into the fight. So I went from that to an XDS to back to a Glock 23. Glock 23 to a CZP-10C. CZP-10C, fell in love with the grip angle. I fell in love with the way that gun felt in my hand. But one thing I don't like about strikers, if there's a hard primer and you click, you tap, rack, get it back in the fight. With, a hammer fired, you can click it in double action as many times as it takes to get that round off. Now, with that being said, if it takes more than 2 or 3 strikes to get that round off, I'd go ahead and tap rack it. That's just my personal opinion. Now, sorry guys, I smoke cigarettes. Now, if I had to choose only one of these guns, that would be a very difficult choice. The CZ-po7. It's shorter, but it's the same length, if that makes sense, because of the threaded barrel. Now, if I had the one without the threaded barrel, that would still be a really hard choice for me, because I love this gun. I love the way, these guns feel almost the exact same, except the grip is just, about a ½ inch shorter. And, this gun, it fits it. It's like a glove, man. That's a really hard choice. But if I had to choose, I would definitely go with the po7, simply because if I had to choose out of the 2 guns that are in front of me, the po9 and the po7, it's going to be the po7 due to the, the threaded barrel. You have an advantage with the threaded barrel. A lot of people don't know that. And you might say, well, what is the advantage to the threaded barrel? Well, versus a gun such as this, if it gets pressed up against something and it goes so far out of battery, it's not gonna it's not gonna work. It's out of the fight. With a threaded barrel, it gets pushed up against it. It's gonna fire. And not only that, you got 2 beveled edges on it. So if you had to strike with it, you could. There's multiple different applications why I would go with the po7, because the po7 you can do multiple things with. This would be the tool that I would carry. Like I said, this has been my EDC, but in the past week, this has been in heavy rotation. I love this gun. This gun is a dream to shoot. I gotta order some sights for it, because this one I was working on I was doing some work, and the holster that I have don't cover the front of the gun, and it marred. I was carrying outside the waistband this particular day, and when I laid down on the concrete and leaned back, it marred the shit out of my sights. So I gotta get, which you can still get a good sight picture. Let's see if I can get that in there. Probably not with that light. Yeah, there you go. You can still get a good sight picture with it. They still glow just fine, but that's just a personal preference. Now, these bitches are high. In close self-defense ranges, you're going to shoot it high. It's going to be, it does make a difference. Now, in self-defense ranges, I've heard You know, oh, you don't need your sights and self-defense ranges if you just, you know, draw from holster and, you know, use your index finger to acquire your target. You'll hit it every time. I agree 110% with that, but if I have the time and I'm able to get the gun up and get them sights on, I want them sights, because I know if I'm looking down them sights, it's just the fundamentals that I have. I know if I have that sight picture, I'm not missing. I'm not missing. Now with this, you can draw and think you're on it and be, you know, 3 or 4 degrees to the right, or you could be bent up weird. I mean, that's no guarantee. Now, if you have to shoot that way in a self-defense situation, by all means, do what you gotta do. But, or, you know, shoot from the rib cage, one of those fucking ordeals. But 9 times out of 10, if you can do some kind of maneuver to get back and draw, and if you got to shoot from here, you got to shoot from here. You know what I mean? But if you can bring it up and acquire them sights, that's going to be the way to go. And that's just my personal opinion. Those are the fundamentals that I was taught. And I'm a firm believer that if you can acquire that sight picture in a situation like that, it gives you just a little bit more time to process everything. Versus a quick draw, bam. When you draw, and you can take that extra second and get that sight, and you can identify, okay, this is a life or death situation, or, okay, I've presented, in presentation of the firearm, this gentleman, or whatever, this attacker turned around to run. Okay, this is no longer a deadly threat. You know, I'll bring the firearm down now. So just shit like that, man. Just little shit that makes a difference. You know, and I'm still getting new to the whole YouTube and gun review thing. A lot of people like to hear exact specs. I don't have exact specs on either of these guns. I mean, I can tell you the round count. I can tell you how many rounds I put through each of them. I can tell you about where the trigger pull is. Single action or double action on the po7 is about a 7-pound trigger pull. Just because of the trigger system that's in it. And that's about a 3.5 pound trigger pull. Now, single action in the po9, that's about a 3.5, 4-pound trigger pull. Double action, it's about a 10-pound trigger pull. There is a notable difference in the double action trigger pull. Which still isn't an issue because of how smooth. Even though it's a little stiffer, it's a lot more smoother. Now, of course, this gun is newer than this gun. This gun has had 4,000 or 5,000 rounds put through it. And I'm talking about since he put the new trigger system and recoil spring and all that bullshit in it. This gun has had about 5,000 rounds put through it, and it shoots like a fucking gem. This right here, this is a newer gun. This gun has only been shot, when he first got it, he put 150 rounds through it, put the new trigger system and all that shit in it, and then sold it to me. He didn't even shoot it after he put the new trigger system in it. I've put about, notably, 200 rounds through it, so it's about 350 rounds to this gun. Now, this gun, I've put about 500 rounds downrange. Now, when I say 500 rounds, that means I've been to the range about 5 times, and I've put 100 rounds downrange doing my draws and, you know, just working on my fundamentals and what works for me. So, I kind of went off subject a little bit as far as, you know, the sights and, you know, shit like that, and, you know, the fundamentals. But, you know, you can never learn too much. And if you're new to concealed carrying and you stumble upon this video, don't ever have a closed mind and think you know it all and think you got it down packed, because I promise you, as a concealed carrier myself and a gun owner, I am learning something new every day. Every day. I watch videos, I read forums, I communicate with people in the gun community, gun shops, so on and so forth. I mean, I'm learning something new every day. So don't ever go into concealed carrying thinking that you know it all. Because 9 times out of 10, if you think you know it all, you're going to fuck up, man. Everybody fucks up. Everybody makes mistakes. Um, just keep an open mind when carrying. Because that open mind will teach you a lot. I've learned a lot in my journey to concealed carrying, and I know a lot of people that have as well. I know a couple people that are closed-minded and they think they know it all because they're older in age, and they're whatever. I'm not going to get into that, but keep an open mind, because that open mind, you can learn something so small, such as what I was talking about with the index finger. If you can't acquire them sights, this index finger, while pointing, because you can point your finger at somebody's head and be, or chest, and they can be, 10 yards away and be spot on, or, at close self-defense ranges. I mean, that index finger trick, that might save your life. Something as simple as that might save yours or your family's life. So always keep an open mind. Always, take in information. And if you know something that somebody else don't, share that information, because you might have just saved that man's life. Seriously. And I don't know. So, like I said, go check out Second Militia on Instagram. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below some reviews that you would like to see, because I am working on, like I said, doing gun reviews on YouTube. I do them every Thursday night in between 7 and 8 p.m. on Instagram, so come check us out. And, just remember the Second Amendment, man. Because without the Second Amendment, we couldn't protect the whole Constitution. And, the Second Amendment and exercising your rights is very, very important. That's why I am a spokesman for the Second Militia, because we are the militia of the people, and we will defend our nation, hands down, foreign or domestic, to preserve our rights as human beings. So, with that being said, guys, God bless you. Show me some love down in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. And if you have anything that you would like to chime in on, I promise you, if you comment, I do comment back. I'm not one of those people that your comment gets ignored. And a lot of people, and that's because I'm so fresh to the YouTube. But, alright guys, I'm going to get off here. It's, I've been rambling and chanting on for 30 minutes, so you guys have a good one.